Hello, everybody. This is Sam from Korean Association. Welcome to Candidate Corner, and this is where we conduct interviews with, your electeds and candidates, and that includes our judicial system here as well. And so today, we're very pleased to have with us Judge King County Superior Court Judge Sean O'Donnell. Welcome to.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Um, Judge O'Donnell is awesome. He came out to our kickoff on June 11th for the South Korea game, and he's really just involved in not just in the community as a whole, but with our AA and HPI communities and communities of color, which is, that's inclusive of our community. So we very much appreciate that. Yeah. So we just want to get to know a little bit more about Judge O'Donnell. He is currently a King County Court judge, but he's running actually for Washington State Supreme Court. So we want to just get to know a little bit about your background.
Sure.
And just as a quick reminder, this is not really an endorsement, but we do this because we're the recipient of King County Voter Education Fund, which we're very thankful for. But we have an opportunity here in our studio to do these interviews so that primarily for educational reasons. So, when you go to the polls, when you send in your ballot, a lot of times people, they say, well, I don't really know who these candidates are. And so we hope to change that, to get to know who they are kind of on a personal level as well. And so you can be more of an informed voter when you send in your ballots. So let's learn a little bit about the judicial system today.
Sure.
Yeah, so Judge O'Donnell, thanks again, welcome. And perhaps you could just tell us a little bit about maybe briefly about your personal and professional background.
Sure. Well, thanks again for having me. And I think this is a great thing you're doing to help voters learn who's on the ballot and learn about the seats.
Right.
Especially the judicial seats. I've heard so many people say, look, I know how important these races are, but sometimes I just don't know who to vote for or what to look at when I vote for one of these candidates. So I'm really happy to be here. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I grew up here in King County, and my wife is a pediatric occupational therapist. So she works with kids who have autism and other really significant challenges. I have two teenage kids myself who keep us very busy. But they sort of are my inspiration for running and for public service.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I've been a public servant for 25 years.
Wow.
I started out as a King County prosecutor, and I worked in the criminal division there.
Okay.
And handled some of the most serious cases, criminal cases that we see in our community. So, the very first case I did was a gun violence case involving kids. And one of them took a gun, and his friend ended up shooting him, and that
just blatantly shooting.
Well, they were playing around with the gun.
Okay. I see.
And they were young and reckless, and it was tragic. But I never forget a case like that.
Right.
I spent 2.5 years on the Green River Killer case.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I was one of the lawyers who prosecuted Gary Ridgway.
Oh, amazing.
Who was responsible, as you know, and I think probably many of your viewers know, for the death of 49 girls and young women.
Right.
That was an impactful case for me personally,
absolutely,
and professionally. One of the things that happened during that case is Ridgway spent about 6 months confessing to these murders, and you probably know this. He targeted young women and girls who were involved in the commercial sex trade, who had run away from home. And one of the things he told us as he was confessing to his crimes was he targeted these girls and young women, many of whom were people of color from disadvantaged backgrounds. He targeted them because he believed that no one would care. And there was some tragedy and some truth to that. I mean, you would have these cases go unsolved for years and decades, and because these victims were on the margins of society. So that impacted me, and from there I was very involved as a prosecutor in cases involving human trafficking.
Wow.
So I tried the first human trafficking case
Amazing.
in the state of Washington. And then the first case involving what's called the commercial sexual abuse of a minor. So kids who were forced into prostitution. I ran for judge then after doing those cases and some more homicides. And I've been a King County judge for 13 years. So let me just, maybe I'll tell you a little bit about what's King County Superior Court.
Right. Maybe break that down a little. How that?
I'm happy to do that. So King County Superior Court, that's what's called a trial court.
Okay.
So that's where you have jurors and witnesses and evidence that gets introduced. It's sort of where I sort of joke. That's where all the action is in trial court. You watch those courtroom dramas. By the way, real life, not similar to the courtroom dramas, but the courtroom dramas. People are in court, and it's important work that we do in King County Superior Court. And what a lot of people, I think, intuitively know, but maybe don't really put together is the responsibility of a judge and really the power a judge has over people's lives is extraordinary. Like as a judge, I can order a parenting plan and I'll be telling a mom or a dad when you get to see your kids. There's really no other level of government that gets that involved in people's lives. I make release decisions if someone's accused of a crime, decisions about should there be a protection order or not a protection order. People get hurt. They get to have their day in court there. And I've learned over the years that when people show up in my courtroom, or any courtroom really in King County, they have walked 1,000 steps to get there. And what happens in the courtroom can be deeply impactful for them and their lives. So, been a judge for 13 years. I've been the chief criminal judge for King County, the chief family law judge for King County. I'm currently the lead judge right now up at Harborview Medical Center.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we have a courtroom at Harborview. And
so you know Stephanie well, Stephanie Fain.
Yeah, for sure. She's one of the commissioners.
In this district.
And that's right. She's in this district. So at Harborview, we deal with people who present as either gravely disabled because of a mental health condition, or they're a danger to themselves or a danger to others. And remarkably, we probably do 400 to 500 petitions a month in those types of cases. So I do that. I'm also what's known as my colleagues on King County Bench appointed me to be the special inquiry judge. So in public corruption cases, we don't do grand juries in the state of Washington, but a grand jury in the federal system, that's where the investigators can get search warrants and subpoenas and take witness testimony. So we set it up in Washington State. We have a special inquiry judge, which is what I do.
I see. So just to clarify then, when a case the escalation path to King County depends on the nature of the case itself or the severity of it.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good description.
Or the categorization of the.
So like in a criminal case, you've heard the term misdemeanor and you heard the term felony.
Okay.
And I'm going to just speak very loosely here. A misdemeanor means that you would, if you are convicted, you would face a punishment less than but up to 1 year. If it's a felony, it's over a year that you could be incarcerated in prison, in jail. So we do felonies, mostly felonies in King County Superior Court.
Okay.
We handle real property disputes, landlord-tenant issues, for example. We handle civil cases. We handle all the juvenile cases, all of the juvenile justice cases in King County.
Right.
I mentioned the Involuntary Treatment Act cases, which is what I'm doing at Harborview. So really, it's almost anything any dispute that arises under the law, your first step is very likely going to be Superior Court.
Okay.
And they're just, as a note, there are 39 counties across the state of Washington. Each one of them has a Superior Court judge that's assigned to it.
Okay. You work closely with Lisa Lisa
Lisa
Mannion.
Mannion,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Well,
Very
she
close
and
with our community.
well, she
Yeah.
and I used to work together.
Okay, okay,
She
yeah.
she was one of the lawyers.
Shout out to Lisa.
She was one of the leaders in the office
Yeah.
when the Ridgway case was
Ah,
being managed. I mean, she was right there in the meetings
right.
to help figure out how do we steer this.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've known
yeah.
Lisa for many years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate her, and also Korean Americans who elected to our in the Judge Samuel Chung.
Oh,
And,
I know Sam.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Sam. I mean, you know him well.
Yeah.
He really is a leader in the community. He's a leader in the judiciary. He formed CABA, if you know what
Right.
that is, the
Right.
Korean American Bar Association.
We're just at the gala.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Sam led our association of judges from across the state. So he was the president of what's called the Superior Court Judges Association.
Interesting.
And he's a friend.
Yeah.
And you know, just one of those wise people on our court.
Right.
That's all of us benefit from him being involved in his leadership.
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Let's kind of pivot back. So now you're currently King County Judge, but at the moment you're running for Washington State Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Has it come in a time in your illustrious career that it's kind of maybe it's time now to do the pivot?
Sure.
And if so, what are the main sort of what's actually sort of motivating you?
Yeah.
And to do
Yeah.
this? Yeah. So,
Yeah. Thanks for that question.
Yeah.
So this year is unlike any other in state history because of the number of open seats or number of seats on the ballot in November
Okay.
for the state Supreme Court. 5.
Okay.
Now there are 9 justices. Justices are either elected or they're appointed, and they serve terms of 6 years. So in the federal system, you probably know this, a justice is nominated by the president and confirmed by the United States Senate. That's not how we do it in our state court system.
Okay.
We either elect judges, or if someone retires early, the governor can appoint someone to fill their seat. So for me, you know, I mentioned a minute ago, my kids are sort of in their late teens, and they're, you know, it's sort of unbelievable to me. We're about to be empty nesters.
We never really are. Like our kids
really
graduated, but they came back, living rent free. But
they never really leave.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's good.
For a while at least.
So you know, in my personal life, this is a good moment.
Okay.
And then professionally, you know, I have thought about doing this for a number of years, and hasn't felt quite right. I've now served as a part-time justice on the state Supreme Court for a couple of cases.
Okay.
And I just feel at this point, with so much turnover and the work I've done statewide for the judiciary, that I can really offer a lot for the court. We have things that are coming at us that are important, and I am excited to be part of that. So now seemed like the time for me to do this.
Okay, great. If we could, maybe we can not sort of go too much into the weeds, but perhaps touch upon a couple topics, which, and I raise these because it may be pertinent for our AHP and HPI communities as well. And one of those, you mentioned that in your career that you also worked with cases related to human trafficking. And so this is something that's very tragic, of course, and it's something that's very real. And it doesn't not only affect our communities, but what is actually going on there, and what can we do as sort of citizens, small business owners, people that are living here, just trying to raise our families, the telltale signs to kind of protect ourselves from this, and what's actually going on. Yeah, so we can be more informed, right?
And it's super important to be informed on this topic. You know, when I was a prosecutor and worked on these cases, I worked very closely with Representative Velma Valoria. I don't know if you remember Velma, but she helped write the human trafficking statute, and she was laser focused on how people were being exploited.
Mm-hmm.
Many times they were targeted because they weren't U.S. born.
Mm.
English wasn't their first
Right,
language.
right.
They felt very vulnerable because of uh, their status in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, back again when I was a prosecutor, I helped train other lawyers across the country on
Mm-hmm.
how to investigate and
Mm.
prosecute these cases
Mm-hmm.
for the National Association of Attorney
Oh,
Generals.
really? Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, some of the issues that we dealt with 15 years ago remain. And what's different is the proliferation of social media and the ability to sell people online.
Mm.
And even saying those words to me is just so heartbreaking because of what we're talking about, the dangers that these young women and girls face.
You're saying that it's being messaged
Well,
on social media,
it's being
or
messaged, but
okay.
yeah, the commercial sex buyers and the sellers
Yeah.
use social media sort of like
Okay.
they use the Aurora Strip
Right.
to
Okay.
advertise and to
It's just
purchase.
another platform.
It's
Yeah.
a, it's another it's another platform.
Yeah.
So, uh, you know, there's so much money involved, and
Yeah.
the exploitation, the ease on which exploitation occurs is it's really startling. So you ask, what can folks do to be vigilant?
Mm-hmm.
What can small businesses do? I mean, it's the same now as it was 15 years ago when I was really in the mix of these cases. If you see something, you should say something. You should ask if someone's okay.
Mm.
We have in King County, there are many referrals to assistance. And of course, people can always call law enforcement and say, hey, what do you think? Like if they see something that they think is
Mm-hmm.
happening that might be exploitative of
Mm.
people because of their status or other reasons.
Mm.
It is a tragedy that this exists, and unfortunately, the Seattle area, is sort of high on the list for how prevalent this is.
As a coastal city, and yeah,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
Pacific Coast. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. I mean, sometimes the people involved in exploiting these girls and young women will move them from city to city
Mm.
so that they don't have connection
Right.
to law enforcement.
I
And
see.
there are different types of sex trafficking. I
Mm.
mean, there are sex trafficking that can be used as like a more extensive model where there are multiple victims and the exploitation is occurring on
Mm-hmm.
really a systemic basis,
Okay.
or it can be a one-on-one situation.
Mm.
But overall, I mean, tragic, awful.
Yeah. The key is from the citizen's perspective is that if you suspect something, that it's sort of our job and our role, please, to be moved to report it, even if you suspect it. Yeah.
Well,
So yeah.
and you really could save a life.
Yeah.
I mean, I go back, and again, I mentioned being on the Ridgeway case. I mean, those were such dangers that these girls and young women face
Mm.
when they go out and are involved
Mm-hmm.
in this insidious
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
They've been assaulted, raped, murdered, sexually transmitted diseases,
Yeah.
all the things that they face in this terrible circumstance. So
Mm.
you're right.
Yeah.
If you think something's happening, tell somebody.
Mm. I wanted to segue your experience with Ridgeway,
Yeah.
the Green River Killer, and clearly with the heinous crimes that were committed, Ridgeway was at one point just a human being and a person, but perhaps something happened along the way, which, as compared to a normal breathing, citizen, that perhaps something may not be quite so right there. And I'm maybe referring to the mental health aspect of what may be going on. And so throughout your career,
Mm-hmm.
if you peel back sort of the layers of these heinous crimes, that would you attribute that to mental health? And so if that's the case, then that plays a big part of our awareness of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, particularly
Yeah.
in our state. Do you have an opinion on this?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would say this. Generally speaking, I've seen people involved in the criminal justice system. Uh, I sometimes will use this when they're in front of me for a sentencing. So they've committed a crime and now they learn what the sentence is. And the truth is, there are more bad decisions than there are bad people. People make mistakes. People deserve second chances. However,
Interesting. Yeah.
However, there's a bandwidth of individual whose crimes are so heinous that they really are in a different category.
Okay.
And they're in a different category legally because of what they've done. It's not my expertise, or to use a phrase, my wheelhouse, to do the mental health diagnosis. I have seen mental health play a substantial role in crimes that have been committed.
Okay.
So it really depends on who's in front of you as a judge.
Okay.
Mental health is, I don't know, like I'm the lead mental health judge in King County right now. So I see the impacts of mental health on community members every day. Whether it's homelessness or substance abuse, like all those can be very much intermixed.
I wanted to transition a little bit.
Yeah.
So thinking about Washington State,
Mm-hmm.
the Supreme Court, the your personal philosophy on the judicial system, and can you speak more to that? And if elected, what are some areas that you feel that your experience and your philosophy can be best applicable in that case? Yeah.
Yeah, people ask me quite a bit, like, what is your judicial philosophy? And I borrow this phrase from a justice who served many, many years ago, actually on the Washington State Supreme Court. And it's always stayed with me. And the phrase is this: there is the letter of the law, and then there's the spirit of the law.
Okay.
And the difference between the letter of the law and the spirit of the law is people. And what I take that to mean, and I think there's real truth to it, it is extremely important that judges and justices follow the letter of the law, the Constitution, the laws passed by the legislature, the cases interpreting those laws. But it's also very important for judges and justices to recognize that we do all of this work, whether you're a legislator or a governor or a judge, we do all of this work for people. Like, people matter. And I've seen that as a trial judge. I mentioned a minute ago, trial judges where people come to have their legal disputes resolved. So mom and dad are splitting. What are we going to do with the parenting plan? Neighbor needs to get an anti-harassment order. Crime victim talking about how their business has been broken into and how that act can set them back for the whole year. Like, people matter, and they matter in our justice system. So as a justice, I've had thousands of people in front of me. I've made thousands of really important decisions impacting their lives. When you're on the Supreme Court, what you're doing is you're reading about what happened at the trial court. So it's just paper.
Okay.
You don't have people. I mean, you have lawyers in your courtroom, but you don't have witnesses and parties and jurors. So I think being on the Supreme Court, having that experience with people is really a critical experience, a critical foundation for being a good justice. It keeps you connected to these huge decisions that justices will make that will go out and affect people. So that's one thing I believe prepares me for this job. The other thing is most folks don't know this, but for justices, probably over 50% of the job is managing the branch. I mean, we're in an independent branch of government, and its management is challenging. So some of the roles I've served as a Superior Court judge, I've worked on things that have impacted the entire state. So I co-led a task force for more money for court interpreters. Court interpreters are essential for access to justice. I helped lead a task force statewide on courthouse security. So I was president of our Judges Association. The first thing we sort of recognized is we did a study and say, well, how many courtrooms out there, how many courthouses have weapons screening at the front door? We found half of them do not.
Wow.
So I've really worked to bring attention to that. We have another area which is sometimes referred to as pretrial reform. So pretrial means you're charged with a crime, and then you have to wait till you go to have your case resolved, trial or a plea or a dismissal.
Right.
Well, what happens in that time? Are you in custody? Are you out of custody? And one of the things we did when we pulled this work group together was we realized we can safely release more people into the community and save government a lot of money if we provide what are called pretrial services. So help you get to your job, maybe help you find a place to live. If you're on drugs.
So preventative factors to even get to.
So you don't flee the jurisdiction, and so you show up to court. So, and then I guess I would say that the two other projects I've worked on that will help me for the Supreme Court. One has to do with weapons and guns in King County. So I help put together a protection order court here in King County where if you are restrained by a protection order, so spouse, girlfriend gets protection order against boyfriend, the boyfriend has to give up his guns. So we started a court here in King County and said, okay, well, if we're going to order you to give up your guns, we should actually make sure you've done it.
Yeah.
And that court has resulted in hundreds of, if not thousands of guns being released. And the final thing I've worked on, I'll just tell you about, that will help for the Supreme Court is artificial intelligence.
Nice. Okay.
I'm really concerned about artificial intelligence.
Oh, you have a concern about it?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, about how it might impact, it is impacting the legal profession and how it could impact the judiciary. I firmly believe no AI should ever tell mom or dad when they get to see their kids. And we just have to be very careful. AI, so this is the thing, you probably know this.
Right.
Today, AI is the worst it will ever be. It's on one trajectory. And so we have to be really careful that we don't let it, because of its ease of use and its prevalence, that we don't let it substitute for a human making decisions that impact people.
That's the number one usage I understand, is what do people use it for? I use it for writing sometimes, but the number one usage is advice.
Yeah, that's right.
And that to your point.
Well,
right? Who's actually making decisions for it? Yeah.
And here's the thing. AI doesn't care if mom spends time with their children.
The empathy is not there.
AI does not care if the lawyer loses their bar license.
I see.
AI doesn't carry malpractice insurance. AI doesn't have to go to law school or pass the bar exam. So those things, we really want to avoid turfing or delegating that responsibility to an algorithm. That, to me, would be totally undercutting why we have a judiciary.
That's a really good point, actually, to the ethics around AI usage. And I think it's something that's, as a parent, I need to think about.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you just...
AI
you bring up a good point. Yeah.
AI doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
It does not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't care if it gives you bad advice, doesn't care if it gives you bad legal advice.
Got it. Well, finally, Judge O'Donnell,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
sure.
Lastly, crimes happen and it's tragic. That's part of our life. And so our job, the judicial system, is to have compassion and empathy for our people, as you say, and to do our best job to mitigate and regulate what's going on here. And so sometimes crimes will happen in specific communities. So take, for example, as an example, the Korean American
Yeah.
community. And it's when it happens, it impacts us, I think, perhaps more so in a way because we're so if you identify as Korean American, we're smaller,
Hmm.
right? We're smaller here compared to the broader scope, and so therefore much more closer knit in a way and homogenous. And so if I'll know what's going on right with our neighbor the next
Hmm.
day, and so it's kind of like that. And so when it impacts our communities, and but justice has to be served at the same time. And so they may feel sometimes that, oh well, justice wasn't served for our community,
Hmm.
but um, it's not to say that we weep together as a community when it happens, but at the same time, the law is a law. And I mean, the way that I explain it is we have to uphold, as citizens, law-abiding citizens,
Hmm.
the law. That does not mean that I'm there together with you, weeping over this
Hmm.
incident. Um, you confront this every day, but perhaps could you share a word of encouragement
Sure.
for our AA and HPI communities, specific to us, maybe? Yeah,
Sure.
for yeah,
Well,
in this particular case. Yeah.
the encouragement I would say is in the justice system,
Mm-hmm.
you have devoted public servants,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're prosecutors or public defenders
Mm-hmm.
or judges, who care very deeply
Mm-hmm.
about our community, care very deeply about your community,
Mm-hmm.
um, and we uphold principles of fairness, dignity, respect. You know, there are definitely imperfections
Yeah.
in the system, right? And people see it all the time, and they can be frustrating and sometimes heartbreaking.
Mm.
Uh, on the other hand, I do believe we have the best justice system
Okay.
in the world, and and one of the reasons we have the
Mm-hmm.
best justice system in the world is because of our jury system,
Mm.
where we bring people from all communities together to make really important decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And the brilliance of the jury system is, in a criminal case, 12 people come together and have to agree on an outcome.
Mm.
And that's not your classic, government official or elected official or government employee. It's 12 citizens who take a moment out of their lives, who commit to doing their civic duty and making a decision as a microcosm of our community. I've seen a lot of jury trials, both as a lawyer and as a judge. And so my hope, my encouragement, my really awe at our jury system is how devoted, how committed jurors are when they take that oath. And to me, that, you talk about hope, um, that is, in terms of fairness and uh, making sure community is involved in these incredibly important decisions. The jury is really where my hope is,
Okay.
and we're so lucky to have a jury system here in our in our county and in our state and in our country. I guess my final thought is there's no place also in this commitment is across judicial officers, across every level of court. There's no place in our justice system for bias and discrimination.
Mm.
And we are continually, as judges and lawyers, educating ourselves, being aware, making the commitment that everyone has an equal seat at the table. And this needs to be a primary focus
Mm-hmm.
of how we manage the justice system. And it is front and center virtually in every education setting, every judicial meeting that we have, that we need to celebrate our diversity as a community, but also ensure that it's just, it's not lip service, that we're actually meaningful when we say diversity matters.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Judge O'Donnell. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much. That was great. Finally, so you're running for Washington State Supreme Court. So how can we help you? What are some of your needs? And do you have a website?
I do. Well, thanks for thanks for so I'm running
Yeah.
for the Washington State Supreme Court, position number 4, and I do have a website. It's O'Donnell for Justice, and it's ODonnellForJustice.com. First of all, I would be honored to have your vote in November. I'm not on the primary ballot.
Okay.
There will be 4 races on the primary. That's not my race.
Okay.
I'll be honored to have your vote in November. I hope you get on the campaign website, and if you have questions, reach out. I'd be happy to talk with you, happy to come to one of your events, and happy to see you again. Maybe at another
there'll be more.
match.
There'll be more.
Okay,
yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks. Thank you so much for again for having me.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
Don't forget to vote, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. 여러분들 여기 우리 킹카운티 저지 션 오더널입니다. 지금 우리 그 워싱턴 스테이트 수프림 코트 저지 지금 뛰고요. 이번에 그 노벰버 제너럴 일렉션 발럿이 나옵니다. 그래서 and also because it's Washington State, does that mean who will actually receive a ballot with your name on it?
Everybody in the state.
Okay.
Statewide
Just
election.
wanted to confirm that.
Yeah, so if you're in Whatcom County or Snohomish County or Yakima County, on the ballot.
Amazing. Okay. 그래가지고 이번에 그 발럿이 오면은요, 우리 저지 션 오더널 여기서 그 나왔습니다. 그 워싱턴 주에서 뭐든지 그 션 오더널 저지 나왔습니다. 그래서 꼭 이번에 11일 나와서 투표해 주시면 고맙습니다. 네. Thank you for joining again. It's Judge Sean O'Donnell, and most importantly, get out the vote. Just have a voice and come out, and please do your part to send in your ballot and vote.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Oh, thanks.